Okay, so we're at the receiver at the 25-meter telescope. Cryo is pumping away. Yeah, crispy winter day here. It's Onsala Space Observatory. Down there is the observation station we were at before. Yeah, it's actually a mariograph, seawater level measurement station. Yeah. So I've been thinking about my own projects, yeah. So I was building the Lucid Mount, and just when I finished up with the 350 hub motors, and I was kind of disappointed with how they held stability and the limitations in that. I wanted to get something else done, yeah, just to have some side project. That was just when the StrainWave gearboxes with Harmonic Drives started to take on the market for astronomical mounts. So I was like, oh. So I first started to entertain the idea about possibly 3D printing the StrainWave gearbox. Yeah, since they came to quite a hefty price and they weren't that easy to find. So here's an example of what I did. So I 3D printed the flex spline out of TPU plastic. So here we can see that how it could be designed and the principle of it for pretty much all of them. So you have this cup-like design with the teethed part here, and then you have the output part here. So this is usually then made out of stainless or maybe aluminium, quite thin, so that this part can flex. And this then is then inserted into the circular spline, like that. Yeah. And in my design here, I had a ball bearing sitting here, connecting these two together, and then you simply had an output plate connecting to this, and then you had some captive nuts here then to connect that together. Yeah, and then here we have my wave generator, which was basically a PLA, just like the circular spline. And you had a captive nut here for the output shaft from the motor, and here you had a holder for a bearing that meshed up in here, so that they could rotate freely. So this basically had ball bearings in this groove that just filled up and meshed up this and reshaped the flex spline as it should be. Yeah. So so by principle, it was really fun to work with because it worked. Not as it should though, because TPU is not just flexible, it's also stretchable, which kind of defeats the whole purpose. If you make this out of like thin stainless or metal, it's flexible, but you can't stretch it. So then it will work as a zero backlash system, but with plastic it doesn't. I was thinking about using like a timing belt here instead, because they're not stretchable, but yeah, maybe that could have worked if you could join them together. But then I did find something else that I could use. Yeah. So I started browsing AliExpress for them, and I found something that I thought was nice, cute, and not super overly priced.
We're going to do an unboxing. Yes, from the Far East. We have received the box. Oh yeah, look at that. You guys know what this is? Yeah? It's an MS-17 motor with a StrainWave gearbox. Yeah. So, I'm going to give you It's a quick tour about what we're seeing here. So here is your motor. Here's the axle attachment. It's a little like a, yeah, it's got a shaped thing that you can screw onto the axle. It's a D-shaped axle, 5mm. So here's the interesting parts. So this is the wave generator. It's elliptical and it's got bearings around it. And this pushes this white part, which is the flex spline. Yeah, it's a flexible teeth part, and it meshes up with the circular spline, which is the outer ring here with the inwards facing teeth. And what happens is that the motor turns this and reshapes the flex spline to mesh up around this as it walks around, and it kind of massages the flex spline to move in the opposite direction as to what the wave generator is moving along with the motor. And the ratio of reduction is calculated by basically the number.
Oh yeah, so if you want to calculate the reduction ratio, just use the formula there instead, because I didn't read that correctly and got it all wrong when I tried to explain how to get that. Yeah, so
use my finger here. You see how the white part is being pushed into it's being moved around to mesh up with the outside, the circular spline. Yeah. And so if I turn this, yeah, I can see that moving. So it moves in the opposite direction as the one I'm turning. So, yeah, that's it.
Right. So we got some motors, and I started to make a little drivetrain for them. Okay, so we are going to assemble one of the axis motors on our new StrainWave gear mount. All right. So here is the motor that we've been looking at before, I think. Yeah, so that was a 3D printed drivetrain, and I fitted that into a like aluminium housing that could fit the motors and the whole thing, and yeah, we ended up in.
This is the I don't know, I haven't got a name for it yet. It's the StrainWave gear mount. Yeah, so we've been working on the Lucid Mount, which is a direct drive mount. With some limitations when it comes to stability if you're running it in open loop, which I've done. And instead of fixing that, I thought I would just try something else and see how that works, and then move on with that when I'm fed up with this. So here it is. Yeah, well, partly anyway.
Yeah, we ended up in this. Yeah. You got the motors, you got the drivetrain that we saw with the threaded shaft and the plastic key things and the bearings and stuff. And yeah, on both sides here, a little box with the electronics, step motor drivers. I have the Raspberry Pi for a guide computer, everything in here, yeah. So that was, yeah, that was fun, and it was fun building, yeah. And it was under the star once with my DSLR. And then I had it out one more time with my little 80mm refractor, and the whole conclusion was that this wasn't it. Yeah, it's too weak. I needed to change these things, and yeah, it's too weak. It's like 3 Newton meters is the output, maximum output on the motors. Yeah, that's just not enough. I don't know what I was thinking really. Maybe as a star tracker, yeah, just a one axis on an equatorial mount with a small dovetail for a DSLR. That would be okay, yeah. But as this, no. It's a funny thing. It was nice working on welding and doodling, but it was yeah. Came to a very quick end, and then I decided to go and get the larger motors on and carry on with the Lucid Mount instead again. So that was it. But this is a segue into what's coming up, yeah, because I'm bored again, and I need another project.